How far would you be willing to go for money? Be honest. Would you auction off your virginity for a cool $1 million? Would you drink a smoothie made of blended rats for $50,000? What about selling self-harm kits? Well, Kenneth Law did just that, and he's now facing 14 counts of first-degree murder. This is a very touchy subject. If the content is triggering, watch one of my other videos. April 2020. Kenneth Law is not the man he used to be. The 55-year-old once held a high-paying position as Senior General Executive Manager at Converon. It's the world's leading designer and supplier of breech implant growth chambers. According to his LinkedIn, he specializes in venture investments and developments. He's got an impressive background. Law is a highly educated man, but he now works as a second cook at the Royal York Hotel. Kenneth only has $3,700 in assets and owes a whopping $134,000. He files for bankruptcy. The origin of his money woes, that god-awful pandemic. I need a source of income. I need to feed myself. So what's a man to do? He's a senior citizen in financial ruin. I don't need to be Suze Orman to know that Law doesn't have much time to recover from this. Months after filing for bankruptcy, the Mississauga man would do something very strange for a little bit of change. Kenneth started selling sodium nitrate on several websites, including Shopify. The substance can be used to preserve meat, but in large doses, it's fatal for human consumption. It's alleged that Law began posting as Greenberg in a popular forum called Sanction, where he would subtly promote his business, the things people do for money. He sold the substance for $59 a gram. He operated his business for about 3 years until it all came crashing down in May of 2022.
Police say this man's website sold a toxic substance linked to 2 deaths in Toronto's suburbs in the past 2 months.
The suspect is currently in our custody, awaiting a bail hearing. He will be charged with 2 counts of counseling or aiding suicide.
Last week, the Times of London newspaper named Law as a chef selling poison to suicidal youngsters, including Britons. Law's name appeared on a now defunct website that sold sodium nitrite, a chemical used for curing meats that can be fatal when consumed in pure form. Law's address was listed as a post office box at this suburban pharmacy, and police are now looking into parcels sent to more than 40 countries.
We're aware of 1,200 packages that have been shipped.
Kenneth is obviously in a world of trouble. I don't think that he saw any of this coming. He is linked to over 100 deaths in 3 continents that police know of. In a pathetic attempt to save his skin, he feigns total ignorance. After his arrest in May of 2023, he tells a reporter at the Globe and Mail, "I'm selling a legal product, okay? And what the person does with it, I have no control." Now, here's the problem with that. One of his websites, About Us page, clearly states that they are committed to responsibly honor the wishes of our customers, independent of social stigma and without judgment. Now, what does stigma and judgment have to do with an alleged meat preservation business? Not a damn thing. On top of that, a mother of one of Kenneth's victims posed as a potential customer. In the email, she claimed to be in distress and inquired about how many grams of sodium nitrate she would need in order to successfully self-exit. Kenneth said something along the lines of 50 grams is more than enough. Law also sent instructions on how to use the product to successfully terminate one's life. It's clear to anyone with 2 brain cells that Law knew exactly what he was doing. While the families of the victims demonized him, and rightfully so, some members of the general public questioned whether a crime was even committed. Made privatized. Unfortunately, the government can't make money when it's done privately. For those of you who don't know what MAID stands for, it stands for Medical Assistance in Dying here in Canada. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's a process for anyone who's 18 and older who meets the eligibility. Now, another user stated, "I don't see a problem with the idea." Lynn B. also questioned what was the matter, but isn't self-exiting made legal, or is self-exiting only legal when it's government approved? What these commenters fail to understand is that MAID is not available to those under the age of 18. Law shipped his orders to anyone with a credit card, including a minor. He has been linked to the death of Anthony Jones, a 17-year-old from Michigan. Kenneth's products should not have been accessible to someone that young. Anthony wasn't even old enough to buy a lottery ticket, to drink, He probably just learned how to drive. His prefrontal lobe wasn't even fully developed. I'm glad that Kenneth's been charged with murder for aiding in a minor's death. The devastation he caused in Tanya Jones, Anthony's mother's life, is inconceivable. According to CTV News Toronto, in 2022, around 3 o'clock in the morning, Anthony went running into his mom's room, screaming and begging to call 911. He was frantic. He said, "Mom, I did something. I need to go to the hospital." He kept saying, "I want to live. I want to live." Tanya's son had ingested the deadly compound. Although paramedics were called, Anthony had already passed before they can even determine the cause of his poisoning. Tanya soon became aware of Kenneth's role in her son's death when she found the packaging with the words "I'm Time Cuisine," one of the companies Law was operating. "That was my youngest son. He'll forever be 17. No other family should have to go through what we've gone through. It's devastating. I can't sleep. It's like a nightmare I can't wake up from." I have the utmost sympathy for Tanya. Although I've never lost anyone to self-harm, there's just something so sinister about someone benefiting from another person's darkest hour. On January 26, 2024, Law's initial charges of 14 counts of second-degree murder were upgraded to 14 counts of first-degree murder, thanks to more damning evidence that proves that the 58-year-old man's actions were willful and premeditated. Final thoughts. Kenneth Law has been called everything from a poison king to an evil genius. I don't agree with the latter. Law is greedy, selfish, and careless, but there's no proof that he took any delight in his unorthodox business, and a genius would have done a better job of covering his tracks. To me, Kenneth was just a man who was strapped for cash, had access to a product that could be lethal in large amounts, found a market, and made lemonade. I don't have much more to say other than this case is one for the books.